Today's menu is the Tamagoyaki Sando from Ride Your Wave. Tamagoyaki is a custardy rolled egg omelette, so obviously we're going to begin this recipe by cracking in 4 large eggs into our measuring jug. Then to season the eggs, we're going to be adding in 7.5 mils or 1.5 teaspoons of mirin, 7.5 mils or 1.5 teaspoons of soy sauce, 4 to 8 grams or 1 to 2 teaspoons of white sugar depending on your preference, and lastly 45 mils or 3 tablespoons worth of dashi. And if you don't have any dashi on hand, feel free to use any other type of stock to season the eggs. With all of our seasonings added, we're going to grab a whisk from our very convenient filming drawer and mix everything in the jug together until it becomes one solid colour. Make sure you don't leave any bits of streaky egg in the mixture, as they can be pretty noticeable in this dish once they're cooked. And once you're happy with how the mixture looks, we can head over to the stove. Turn the stove onto a medium flame and begin heating up your tamagoyaki pan. Then for convenience, I'm going to be oiling the pan with some bundled up paper towel that has been dipped in veggie oil, as we'll need to frequently re-oil the pan throughout this recipe. Once your pan is nice and hot, you're going to pour in a small amount of your egg mixture so that there's just enough to cover the surface of the pan, and you're going to allow that to cook for about 30 seconds or so, and if you need to, pop any air bubbles that are trying to form in the eggs. After about 30 seconds or so, the base of the egg should be set and the surface of the eggs are almost cooked but still soft and a little runny. At this point, we're going to roll the eggs from the top of the pan down to the bottom of the pan, and don't worry too much if the first couple of rolls don't look perfect, because it always starts off looking a little bit jank, but then by the end of it, it's going to look really nice. Once you've rolled the egg to the bottom, we're going to lightly oil the top of the pan with our bundled up paper towel before shifting the eggs back to the top of the pan and then re-oiling the bottom of the pan too. Pour in some more of your egg mixture to cover the base of the pan, and then you're going to lift up the rolled up eggs and tilt the pan so that the new egg mixture can get underneath and adhere to the already cooked eggs. Then just like before, we're going to let this cook until the base of the eggs have set, popping any air bubbles as necessary, and then we're going to roll the eggs from the top of the pan down to the bottom when the new eggs are almost set. And if it's easier for you, you can also turn the pan 90 degrees and flip it from left to right rather than from top to bottom. And now that we're 2 rolls in, we're going to repeat the re-oiling process before with a paper towel, shift the eggs back up to the top, and then add a little bit more oil to the bottom of the pan before pouring in a bit more of the egg mixture. Make sure you add enough to cover the bottom of the pan, and then lift up your rolled eggs and tilt the pan so that the new eggs can get underneath and stick to the already cooked eggs. If this is starting to sound a little bit repetitive to you, get used to it, my friends, because this is your life now. Or at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes, you can do whatever you want afterwards. Once you're about 5 to 6 rolls in, you may want to swap from chopsticks to a spatula when folding the eggs to make your life a bit easier, because this boy gets real chonky real quick. I'd also like to point out that if you don't have a tamagoyaki pan, you can absolutely make this in a small non-stick frying pan using the same method. It's just going to turn out a little bit more cylindrical rather than rectangular. When you finally used up all the egg mixture, you should have a beautiful and soft looking egg brick in your pan. Make sure all the seams of the eggs are cooked by pressing it against the edges of the pan, and then at this point you can turn off the heat and set this to one side while we prepare our bread for the sandwich. Now obviously you can use whatever bread you want for this sandwich. In the movie it looks like they just used fluffy white bread, but I wanted to take the sandwich one step further and use Japanese milk bread, which looks something like this. If you want to know how to make this, feel free to click the I in the top right corner and you can go check out that training arc. Now I know it seems a bit excessive to make a whole loaf of milk bread just for a tamagoyaki sandwich, but sometimes you just gotta treat yourself. Plus you can use this for a bunch of stuff later on in the week, and you also get the satisfaction of pulling apart the bread like this, which I think just makes it worth it to begin with. Either way, with your bread of choice, we're going to be cutting ourselves a couple of slices, and then in true Japanese sandwich fashion, we're also going to be cutting off all of the crusts. Then to give our sandwich a bit more flavour, we're going to be spreading over some butter onto one slice of our bread, and as a personal addition, I'm also going to be spreading over some Kewpie mayonnaise onto the other slice. Place half of your tamagoyaki onto one slice of the bread, top it with the other piece of bread, and then you're going to cut it in half with, Andy, no, dude, what are you doing? You have a perfectly good bread knife there to cut your sandwich in. Oh my god, dude, why are you like this? Oh well, at least the cross section looks good. Once you're done being disappointed with your terrible sandwich cutting choices, you're going to stack up your platter of tamagoyaki sandwiches and garnish the plate with some unnecessary greenery to make this look show accurate. And here you have the Tamagoyaki Sando from Ride Your Wave. Now like I just said, the garnish was completely unnecessary, so we're just going to toss that over there. Go on, get out of frame, go on. That's much better, now we can eat. Now these guys are actually pretty tall, so you're just going to have to unhinge your jaw a little bit, and then, yeah, buddy, it'd be helpful if you could just keep the food in your mouth. Man, you were just not doing well today. Alright, now let's actually talk about the food. If you haven't tried tamagoyaki before, you might find that the flavour is a little bit confusing. You obviously have the flavour of the eggs themselves, and both the dashi and the soy sauce add more of that umami savouriness to the eggs along with the salty flavours, but then you also get that sweetness of the sugar and the mirin coming through, which like I said, if you're not used to, can throw you off, and to be honest, it's usually not my preferred taste either. However, when you add in the slight acidity of the Kewpie mayonnaise and the rich fattiness of the butter, it mellows and balances out the sweetness really well, and you end up with a very unique sandwich. My only real complaint about this sandwich is that texturally it's all quite soft, although I have seen that there are quite a few people who enjoy adding bonito flakes to this sandwich, so feel free to try that out if you want to. If for no other reason, I'd recommend that you try making this at least once just so that you can try out cooking these eggs in this rolled omelette style. It's quite easy to do and you could easily change up how you season the eggs to suit your personal tastes. And if you do make your own versions of Tamagoyaki sandos, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. As always my friends, thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed it, let me know by dropping a like down below and let me know in the comments what food from anime and other media you'd like to see me make in the future. Subscribe to the channel for a new episode every single week, and until then, pull up a chair, unfurl that napkin, and I'll see you in the anime kitchen. Cheers.